I don't really like egotistical people. I might as well say no, I shouldn't, because sometimes, given the circumstances, being a little egotistical can be a good thing, you know. The nuance, the silver lining in being egotistical. But generally, being egotistical is cringe, rage baiting, stupid, and annoying. So I wanna delve in deeper. Egotistical people is like one of the examples is them having a good situation, a good condition, and then they wanna smear it onto others that don't really have it good, like them, that are in a worse or unfortunate condition or situation. And then they want to say it works out for all, you know, it's not just for me, despite the fact that they're in a better condition and situation. They want to generalize and they want to act like those people where they came from and all that doesn't matter. You know, it's great. Thanks for that kindness. But we gotta be logical, factual, pragmatic, practical, idealistic, rational, and realistic, you know. The six pillars of using your brain amongst many others, you know, at least in my opinion. You can't just be fantastical and be so wishful and hopeful all the time. Let's just talk. Talk is cheap. Don't always do that. All that dirty, not dirty, dirt cheap, cheap shots. So, if you want to keep on doing that, you might as well do it elsewhere, or you do it to your other fellow similar people when they have it good as well. That's why those people vibe with each other and jive. That's why they get along, you know. The rich get with the rich, and the unfortunate get with the unfortunate. They rarely mix. Rarely. I'm not saying that's an impossible thing. I'm not saying that's not a thing that exists. I'm not saying that that is a non-existent thing. No. I'm saying that it's rare. But these types of egotistical and prideful people really push my buttons and really does my head in, you know. It really annoys me. It's when they think that it always works for people. For instance, your typical alpha males and sigma males, could even be women also, and then they like to say, no, it's all about personality, it's your looks, it's your hair, it's your face. Funny that they say that, right? Funny that they say it's the face, it's your wealth, it's your social circle, which most of it for myself and those of you that congregated here know that it's ruined, right? Especially for the guys. We don't got that, or lack thereof. Especially you know what. You guessed it, the looks, the face, the vanity, the image, your representation of your character, the face. So don't listen to these people. You know, I even watched a fellow, not fellow, just like a channel, you know, and the content. And then he calls out this fake or just false guru, life coach kind of person, especially for guys, saying that looks don't matter, but he himself is good looking, so that's a little ironic and hypocritical, isn't it? Excuse me, I take that back. It's not little, that's very ironic and hypocritical. Hypocritical, yeah. Hypocrite. I don't know why I say hypocrite. Hypocritical. And he says that some guys, despite their looks, they still can't get women because of what? Personality and all that. No, those are nonsensical. That's BS. It's probably because the woman is not interested yet, or the guy rejects, and then you want to like paint it in some other narrative and other notion and say that he can't get the woman, but whereby he's actually the one that probably denied or rejected, or the woman denied and rejected him. To go to another guy, you know, most likely, And after that, if things don't work out, goes back to him. So that guy, that this YouTuber, the channel that I watch, called him out for, is idiotic and BS, full of BS. Because he can get a lot of women. He can get a lot of partners, temporary partners, I guess. Unless he already settled with one. Most likely he did, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't care. But this is what I'm saying, egotistical. You want to generalize and say, no, it works. It's just your personality, your character, and all that. No. No. And yes, there's even like some guys that lack the characteristics, the important stuff, and they can still get. But that's probably because he has something, most likely neurotypical. And that is very rare also, might I add. That is very rare. It's not a commonality and an average thing. It is not a common occurrence. That's a rare thing. That's a rare sight. So I'm really sick and tired of these egotistical people, prideful people that they have a smug smile on their faces. And they know exactly what they're doing, but they just say that to be cringy and rage bait. Cringe culture and rage bait culture is very strong and prominent, which will be in another video. But now we are just talking about ego and egotistical. It's so damn annoying. I just feel like slapping the lights out of them, punching them, fracturing their faces, hospitalize them. But I'm not stupid as well, and that's a fact, and that's a reason in case if anyone wants to say, oh, you're just a wuss, you won't do that. No, I would. I'm just not stupid. And most of these people in this congregation will do the same too. But they are not stupid. We are not stupid, We know what we are doing. We are careful, calculated. We take calculated risk as well. And we are observative, mindful, resourceful. So we won't do such things. But egotistical people, I tell you, it's annoying. Wealthy people, they say, well, money isn't everything. Of course you would say that. They have a lot of materials. Well, materials aren't everything. Of course you would say that, because you can easily get it whenever you want. At the touch of a button, most likely. At the tip of your fingertips. Within reach. One call away. Like Charlie Puth. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. So of course you would say that, right? Of course. And then you can't even spend some money donating to those that need it. You stingy ass rich people. That's why you get richer. And then the unfortunates and poor people get poorer. And then the middle level, middle income, they stay middle. If they even get an ounce or speck of luck, then they will get above. Or they might decline and be in the lower income category. And that might not necessarily be their fault. It could be the economy, right? The good old economy. Oh yes. Inflation. Shrinkflation. All of the above. Politics and all these things that contribute. But yeah, egotistical people. Tell me about them. Annoying as. Of course they will do this, of course they will do that. They will say this, they will say that. Of course, right? Of course. Easy for you to say. Talk is cheap, like I said around the beginning of the video. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Damn some of these egotistical people. But let me talk a bit about how egotistical is good in a way, because you kind of show that you did the work, you put in the hard work, and you kind of show people that you mean business, you deserve respect, you command respect. You show people that you're not to be messed with and all that, but then even then most people don't care. They say screw you, Nowadays people like respect and all that. Those that rightfully earn that title, that respect, but still not given the respect that they deserve, And then the ego nature, the egotistical nature within them kind of dies out. But that's the healthy kind of ego, the healthy kind of pride where they rightfully earned it and deserved it. And they are humble as well. A humble kind of ego. And it's also, and another reason is like self-defense, because nowadays you can't be too nice and too humble. Let's be honest, let's face it, let's call this spade a spade. You can't be too timid. You have to be out there a little, and you have to kind of be a little prideful, egotistical, and loud, and be all about yourself for the most part. You gotta be selfish. It sucks, but that's the only way, pretty much. If you be kind, you're most likely gonna get screwed. I used to be that. A lot of us used to be that in this congregation. A lot of us. But we had to change into someone that we are not to get ahead, because we are sick and tired as well of getting ruined and used by people, right? Of course. As well as me. I'm just sick and tired of getting used and taken for granted and abused as well. So fuck all that. And I changed, and people have seen that, and I just look at them and smile. Yeah, look at the monster that you've made me become, and don't apologize to them for that. Don't apologize for the monster that they have made you, that they have made out of you. Don't apologize for the monster that they have made you become. It's a quote, actually. I don't know who said it, but you can go look it up. And yeah, so I've talked about the good and bad about egotistical people and also being egotistical, and that's all I have to say. Adios.